All right, guys, let's talk about my experience doing photography last night. Let's get to it. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about a problem I ran across last night. I went to a music venue in an undisclosed city. This will also be an undisclosed venue because I actually like the people that run this joint. I work with them. And I don't want them getting any bad press, so I'm not going to release the name of the venue or anything like that. But basically, as part of my job, I take people to this music and performance venue. And long story short, I had carried my camera gear with me because I figured, well, while I'm up there, I can do some photography and get some shots. I had worked with this organization for several months at a different venue, especially over the winter. Well, not the winter, but I'd say the spring and early summer. And I gotten some really great shots, which if you're subscribed to the channel, especially if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you've probably seen some of the photos I posted. But long story short, I show up at this particular venue last night as a part of my regular day job, and I carried my camera gear with me. I get to the gate where they have security posted, and security tells me I can't do photography and gives me all of these restrictions. And I'm kind of taken aback by this because up to this point, I've never had any issue. No issues, no problems. I'm in contact with the higher ups. I've been told, go ahead, it's no problem. But security at the door, in their defense, they don't know who I am. And they probably don't get this very often. I've been on the other side of this. I'm a former cop. So I've worked my fair share of security details. And long story short, I didn't get to go in and do any photography. I just put my camera gear away. And I kind of got to thinking, how do I want to handle this? Because, part of what I do is photography and videography. And that crap got shut down at the door, quite literally. And so I know I'm not the only photographer that this has happened to. I know some of you guys out there probably, especially if you do photography and or videography, you've had this happen before. And so I wanted to get on here and make a video about, well, what do you do? And by the way, I have a YouTube short about this that might be linked below. I'm going to try and link it below. What do you do when you show up at a venue, you think you have everything ready to go, and yet you're told you can't do photography or videography? What do you do? What are your options? How did I handle that? And so I kind of thought about it, and I came up with 3 things to do when this happens. And the first thing I'd recommend, guys, is don't argue. Don't argue with security. First and foremost, you're not going to win. I've been on the other side of this. I'm a former cop, okay? I've worked as a deputy sheriff. I've worked for private security firms. I've got quite a bit of experience in this particular field. And I'm going to tell you straight up, folks, you ain't going to win. Plain and simple. With the guys at the door, they are going to follow their protocols. They're going to follow what they have been told and trained to do. The only thing that's going to happen to you for, pitching a fit and yelling and screaming and hollering and all this other crap, really one of 2 things, possibly both. Number 1, you're going to be charged with remaining after being forbidden, or you're going to be charged with criminal trespassing. And you're going to get to have a cellmate named Bubba overnight. So it's really not worth it. Just tell them, okay, sorry guys, I didn't know, and put your camera gear away, drop back and punt. And that leads you to the number 2 thing to do. And that is contact their bosses. Go over their heads. Yeah, it's a dick move, but I don't really care. I do photography and videography. I'm a freelance photographer and videographer. This is part of what I do. This is part of who I am. My camera gear, it goes everywhere with me because I never know when I'm going to have an opportunity to get some good shots. And so, as this being a part of what you do, it's important to go through the proper channels. And the thing is, when you're at the door of a venue and they say, nope, you can't take your stuff in, you don't argue, go ahead, put your stuff up, but then make some phone calls. Send some messages or send some emails. Get a hold of those contacts that are either managers or owners of the particular venue. Just explain what happened. Be very respectful, because if you come across like a complete prick, you're not going to get anywhere with folks. The old saying holds very true. You get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Keep that in mind. You don't want to act like a jerk, because then you're never going to get what you want. Plus, people aren't going to like you, and you're not going to be asked back to the venue. So be kind, be respectful, but contact management or ownership and just simply let them know, hey, I showed up at the such and such venue tonight, and I wanted to go in and do some photography, but I was told I couldn't bring my camera gear in, or I couldn't do photography or videography. What do I need to do so next time this doesn't happen? And that leads me to the 3rd thing to do, and that is get your crap together. Get all your ducks in a row. And that way, when you show up the next time, everything is set, everything is ready, and that little security guard or whatnot at the door can't say crap to you. And I'm not saying be rude or be disrespectful, because everybody has a job in this whole thing. As a videographer or photographer, your job is to get the shots. As a security officer or as a police officer, whatever type of position they're holding, working a security detail, that's their job. They're not being rude. Don't take it personal. They're not being rude. They're not being a prick. They're simply doing their job. They're doing what they've been told to do. And the truth is, they probably don't know you from Adam's house cat. And so what you need to do is, the next time when you show up with your camera gear wanting to get those shots, make sure you're on the list, that you have the credentials, that you've talked to the right people. That way, when you show up, there are no questions, there are no issues. Like for example, one venue that I've gone to before, the GM said, yeah, when you show up at the door, they're going to tell you not to bring your camera gear in. You're not allowed to do photography. But when they do that, just tell them that you're working for me, give them my name. And if they give you any problems, shoot me a text or a call. And he said that he'd personally call down there and that he would take care of it. Folks, that's the way you handle things. You don't get rude. You don't be a prick about it. You simply go through the proper channels to make sure that you cover all your bases. Because the truth is, like I said, those guys or gals working security, they're not going to know who you are, most likely. They're not going to know who you are, and they're just simply doing what they're told. They don't deserve to be lambasted because they're doing their job. Because first of all, if they work in that industry, number one, they're not going to give a crap. But like I said with my first point, if you go too far, you're going to be told just don't come back. And that's what we really want to avoid in this scenario, right? Like, you want to go in, you want to be able to get the shots. So that requires you being respectful and kind. Was last night really frustrating at this particular music venue? Oh yeah, I was pissed, okay? I was pissed off. Did I allow that to show? No, not at all. I was kind, I tried to be respectful, and then I went through the proper channels to try and contact the higher-ups. I did, and so now next weekend when I show up to a show, it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be all good. And yeah, I might have to pay a phone call to the GM and say, hey, here's the situation. I'm at the gate. They won't let me in. But then they can take care of all that, and I don't have to be the bad guy. I don't have to be rude. I can be kind. I can be respectful. and I can still get the shots that I need to get. So anyway, guys, like I said, I made a short covering these exact same points and posted it on the YouTube channel. If you get a chance, check that out, give it a like. And with this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, all that crap. I'll quit going over that. Sorry, it's habit from doing YouTube over the last few years. Anyway, guys, I hope these tips were helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.